Am I the asshole for taking on more work against my wife's wishes? Context. My wife M, 30F, and I, 31M, are new parents with a pandemic baby born in January. I have a pretty good job in healthcare and M quit her job as a teacher last year to be a stay-at-home mom. We have been together for 7 years and combined our finances early on in our relationship. M has always been in charge of the budget and she is quite obsessed with maxing out our IRA contributions, paying back loans, and saving for a rainy day. That said, we generally have a good amount of fun money left over every month that we would share. She would visit spas and go out with friends. I would buy random shit and gamble with meme stocks. My mill lives in the same neighborhood and loves helping out with so overall we have a pretty good quality of life. Anyways, about a month ago, I noticed that the amount of money in our discretionary fund dramatically decreased, like from 800-ish to less than 200. So I asked M if some unexpected expenses came up. It turns out, she started putting money away into our HSAs and 529 college savings plans, so there are just not that much left over anymore. Her idea was that we should tighten our belts and save more now and be more financially secure in the future. So my thought on this issue is that, if money is the problem, then making more money would be the solution. Luckily, I am a salaried employee at my job with a flexible schedule, work 12 hours a day between 3 to 5 days per week depending on need, and there are extra shifts I can sign up for at double my normal pay. So I started picking up an extra shift every other week, which M didn't notice. She did, however, notice the extra money on the paychecks coming in, and asked me today if I got a raise or a promotion at work. When I told her that the money is coming from the extra shifts, she got really angry that I did not consult her on this decision. She said that we do not need the extra money, and that she is very hurt that I would rather work than spend more time with her and help with the baby. And this is where I might be I told her that I am willing to be at home more, but if she wants that, then she needs to stop putting so much money away every month. I said we both took out loans for college, and A can do the same when he is 18. And the money doesn't even need to come from the 529, we can just contribute less to our IRA or savings. But if she insists on putting money away, then I will keep working the extra shifts to compensate. M called me childish and selfish for putting my need to eat at restaurants and buy new AirPods PS5s now over our future. She said there were still $100,200 left over every month and I can just have all of it if it means so much to me. So am I the asshole and should I apologize and stop taking on more work? To be honest, I just don't really want to tighten my belt, and it just seems so unnecessary given the options available. And #X200B. Info. Great comments, the constructive criticism is definitely helpful. Thought I would add some more info here for some of you guys. I think I made my wife come off as too aggressive. I love her and trust her with all the finances. I think it is great that she is dealing with it because she has always been the more frugal of the two of us, and we are probably better off this way. When she moves money around, it is not doing it behind my back or anything. I do the taxes at the end of the year, so I mostly know what's going on and I generally don't care. As for the fun money, I never expect a certain amount to be set aside each month. It is always in flux depending on whatever expenses and real things we need to pay for that month. As expected, with the new baby, the amount we have left over gradually declined. The most recent drop just confirmed in my mind that we are hitting the limit of what my current salary can provide and I need bring home more. With regard to my work, it's shift work of 12 hours, I can be 8-8, or 12-12, or 6-6. I need to do 174 shifts a year per my contract, and that averages out to 3-5 days a week. But that's just an easy way to describe it. In reality, I would work sometimes 10 days straight then get 2 weeks off or other times only work 2 random days a week. The salary was not negotiable but the number of shifts are, so I have some co-workers who work 180,190, or 160 shifts for the same pay, depending on when they were hired and what the market is at the time. Anyways, when I say she doesn't notice the extra work, I do mean it. Edit. Almost forgot, she does not need me home to help with childcare. Mill is basically here all the time and she is very helpful. It is more for the company and so I can spend more time with Junior, with my crazy schedule. That's what happens when people don't talk. She didn't tell you about the money. You didn't tell her about the shifts. That's a weird marriage. She chose to divert funds you understood were meant for fun money without telling you. What would have happened if you dipped into what you thought was there but actually wasn't? Your wife is upset you're picking up extra shifts, but she should have discussed this with you before the reallocation of income. As the family breadwinner, she owes you this at least. She took money from the discretionary fund without telling you, so you took on more work without telling her? You both need to learn to talk about financial decisions before you make them. Money means nothing when compared to time spent with family. You are going to miss valuable moments if you are always working. Money can't buy love, and the best memories I have with my family have been the ones without money or things. Spend time with your wife and baby. These moments will not last forever and your child will be grown up before you know it. You are the asshole. You're a parent and you're annoyed your wife is saving for your kids' college and retirement? Get real and start adulting. Info. Were you fine with her making all the financial decisions before? If you used to discuss things like this and she made this decision on her own. If you were fine by her taking on this responsibility and maybe even liked that you didn't have to worry about stuff like that, you are the asshole. Anyway. Talk things over before making decisions that affect both of you. Neither of you discussed your actions. You let her do all the budgeting. That is a decision you made. You didn't discuss your disagreement about her budgeting with her. You two need to talk about it, but also you yourself need to really sit down and look at the numbers to even be able to have that conversation. You two need to agree on saving goals. Am I the asshole for choosing my birth family over adoptive family? So I, 18 female, I'm a transracial adoptee. I am half Indian and half Ashkenazi Jewish while my adopters are white. My adopters were okay growing up. They never abused me, but I never really bonded with them. It felt like being raised by strangers. When I was 15 I found Bio Mom on Facebook and told her who I was. She messaged me back and said that she was so happy to hear from me and if I would be interested in having a Skype call. Well, I found out that her and my bio dad are actually still together and married. So I was able to meet him. So we started making contact again and opened the adoption. I confided a lot in my bio parents about how alone I felt growing up. One day when I was talking with my mom I was feeling really emotional and I asked why she ever put me up for adoption in the first place, and I told her how much it hurt to feel unwanted by her. She cried and told me she loved me. She told me how when she met my adoptive parents, she was looking for an open adoption and my adopters agreed to it. When I was born my bio mom did skin to skin with me and knew that she wanted to keep me. But my adoptive mom convinced her to still place me. She told my bio mom said they would allow visitation and that she would still get to be in my life. My adopters closed the adoption after a year. I confronted my adoptive parents about it and they broke down crying. They told me how much they loved me and how scared they were that they would lose me. It ended with them saying that they would let my parents visit and that we should get family therapy. However, I still have no attachment to them. I honestly don't think of them as my parents or my family. The only people who hold that title in my heart are my bio fam. Well, that was all 3 years ago, and since then I go to college near where my bio parents and extended bio family live, and I am living with my bio parents. I have also started referring to my bio parents as my mom and dad and calling my adoptive parents by their first names. This is a source of arguments between me and adoptive parents, because to them their worst fear of losing me has come true. The latest argument is over the fact that I changed my name. My adoptive parents gave me a white name and used the traditional Desi name my bio parents wanted to name me as a middle name. I changed my name so that my middle name became my first name, and my middle name is the name of my bio grandmother who I have also established a relationship with. I also changed my last name to be the same as bio dad's. My parents threw a fit over it, and at that moment I realized I get no happiness from being around my adopters and it only brings me stress. I am not their daughter and never was. So I told my adopters that I could not have contact with them anymore and they lost it. Now my entire adoptive family is messaging me on social media to tell me what an asshole I am. Aita? Edit. I wanted to add, since a lot of people are confused, I met my bio parents at 15 and they have been in my life for the last 3 years. We have had many visits as well as weekly and sometimes daily calls and FaceTimes. I also have a relationship with the rest of my bio family, especially my bio paternal grandparents, as well as a strong relationship with my cousins on my mother's side. At 15 I started both family and personal therapy with my adoptive parents. I stopped family therapy at 18, but I am continuing personal therapy to work through my feelings. I want you to know that I am taking what you all have said to heart and am going to discuss it with my counselor. But please stop sending me death threats and telling me you hope I lull myself or that I get a disease. Not the asshole. You're allowed to feel however you want about this. I can't believe all the people who are saying you are the asshole. The adoption system is so flawed and they prey on young women who are in crisis mode for a profit. Not the asshole. You are entitled to your own life, and you do not owe your adoptive parents coddling at the expense of your own feelings or identity, no matter what people on this hellsite would have you believe. Adoption is not an uncomplicated fairy tale, and especially not transracial adoption. It can have very real ramifications, more so than people recognize. I would advise you to look up communities of other transracial adoptees who are critical of adoption. I think you will be met with far more understanding and compassion over the complicated nature of your situation there than you will be here. Please ignore the commenters who blame you for your feelings. The person least to blame here is you. Heart. Info. So what was the reason that your bio parents put you up for adoption? You said you asked your bio mom, and then she broke into tears, said she bonded with you at birth and that your adoptive mom talked her into it, but that doesn't explain why she agreed to the adoption in the first place. You are the asshole. It's easy to feel like your bio family are amazing when they never had to do the heavy lifting. Your adoptive family have taken you in and sacrificed a lot for your well-being. They were wrong to close the adoption. However, don't assume that your life would have been fantastic just because your bio family seemed to be in a good place now. They were clearly in a bad place then, or they would never have adopted you out. Those people in the bad place are who would have raised you if you stayed. My opinion as an adopted person is that you suck. I realize that you can't help it if you don't feel close to them, but it doesn't sound like you have tried. Also, the way you speak of your parents, the ones that have been there for you your whole life, makes me sick. You could have handled this a lot better. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Not because of how you feel but on how you went about it. These people chose you, loved you and care for you, even if you don't accept it. They're your parents. You literally cut them off like they were nothing. How you think they feel? That don't matter? You know that whatever your bios tell you, you'll believe blindly because that's what you want to believe. They were in their 20s, not their teens. You're going through feelings that a lot of kids that were adopted go through, that need for their bio parents, but you totally disregarded your actual parents. Remember, you look for your bios, not them for you. You are the asshole. Please remove your head from your teenage brat ass. Info. There's not enough to make a judgment. Why did you find it hard to connect with your adoptive parents? Why did your bio parents not fight harder to stay in contact? I don't believe you necessarily owe your adopters anything, but the reasons you were so easily able to cut them off is important on making a decision. I don't agree with most of these people who assume that you should be grateful. I have been made aware of several issues adoptees have with their adopters and how it's not all sunshine and rainbows depending on your parents. Am I the asshole for calling two women old at the park? I, 35M, I'm a gay man, married to spouse 28M. Spouse is active duty U.S. Army and we are currently living on an Army base he is stationed at. We have a 3-year-old dog, adopted 3 months ago, which I walk every morning, as I'm currently unemployed and trying to lose weight. I swear our dog can tell time because if I'm even a minute late for his 8 a.m. walk he starts to whine, dramatically. Because our dog is so loud and whiny when we don't start our walk on time, we're typically out the door and on our way to the park by 8 a.m. most days. There are 2 older women, mid to late 40s, in our neighborhood who always walk together at around the same time as I walk our dog. I've noticed them many times before, and whenever we crossed paths I'd greet them and continue walking my dog and not give them a second thought. This has been my routine for pretty much the 3 months since we adopted our dog. Today, however, the women had a lot more to say to me. As I stopped to get my dog some water from a drinking fountain, I cup my hands, fill them with water, and let my dog drink from them until he seems satisfied and normally finish our walk. While at the drinking fountain, those 2 women approached me and rather accusingly said, "You walk your dog every day just to look at us while we walk, and we're tired of it." I take a quick glance around, because I'm sure there was no way they could be speaking to me as I am the last guy who would be staring at them this way. When I realize they are in fact talking to me as we're the only ones in that part of the park, I laugh. I laugh so hard, like a full-on belly laugh, it started to hurt my sides. After a few minutes of trying to calm myself down, and being unable to make an intelligible sentence, they grew more and more visibly annoyed as I laughed. I finally managed to regain my ability to use my words, and I say, "Ladies, first of all, I'm gay as fuck. Secondly, I'm in my 30s, married to a man almost 10 years younger than me. Even if I was straight, I think I could do better than 2 women old enough to be my mother. One woman's reaction was just a shocked Pikachu face and the other woman stared daggers at me, as she pulled her friend away. We were walking in opposite directions but were in the middle of our walks, so we bumped into each other one last time before finishing. This is where I think I might be the asshole. As we passed each other for the final time, the woman with shocked Pikachu face looked as if she had cried since I said those things. So now I'm questioning if I went too far with my comments. So Reddit, am I the asshole for calling them old? Edit. To clarify, because it's been asked a couple of times, the woman who accused me was the woman who ended up crying. Her friend didn't say anything in particular other than and nod along in agreement to what her friend said. Also, I did reach out to the local housing center and the garrison, MPs, to make a statement about what happened. Some of you mentioned that the ladies might try to spin the story as them being victims, so I documented my version with them, in case they press the matter further or escalate. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to comment, regardless of how you judge it. Not the asshole. I'm so tired of so many people saying, oh, you didn't have to sink to their level. Do y'all think Op is the only person these women pull their fucking bullshit on? Fuck 'em. Maybe now with a blow to their egos they won't be such assholes. Good on you, Op. Edit grammar. 100% not the asshole. They're being offended by something you said after they accosted you, is not only not your fault, it's not your problem. Not the asshole. Other folk have commented about your old enough to be my mother comment, but frankly, they were asking for it. Their egos needed a bit of a reality check. Not the asshole. Apparently the one crying needed to be taken down a notch. All you did was state the truth, except that they could be your boyfriend's mother, probably not yours. They came at you all high and mighty and they were so off base, it's comical. Not the asshole. People gotta learn that if they start some mess they are gonna get some mess right back. You were probably nicer than a lot of people would have been to them. What planet are people on this sub living on, where it's completely routine for strangers to spark up confrontations about everything? Seems like lately there are a lot of threads here like this, with a stranger confronting an op who is clearly in the right, and the op then gets to deliver a withering comeback speech. Everywhere I go, people have their noses in their phones with earbuds in, oblivious to their surroundings. And definitely not willing to engage with strangers over nonsense. I'll play along, I guess. Not the asshole. They started on you for no reason. Not the asshole. You obviously live there and you're obviously walking your dog. They had no right to confront you. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to invade my privacy and borrow my stuff? My husband and I have a difference of opinion. He thinks that since we share a house, that everything in it should be equal access to the both of us. In other words, it doesn't matter who has what, whose office area it is, where something is placed, either of us should be able to go and use something of the other's without needing permission. I don't think this way. I have things which are mine. My pillow plushies. My art supplies. My personal electronics. Etc. Those are mine. I want him to ask if he needs to borrow something, like my paints. I feel that I have a right to personal belongings and personal space that is mine, even in a shared home. My husband should respect me by not invading that space or ignoring my ownership to certain items. There have been cases where I literally grabbed something out of his hands and said, "No, that's mine. You need to ask," and he's gotten furious with me. E.g., he decided to use one of my pillow plushies to lounge on. He did not ask. He just saw it and took it. I immediately took it from him and substituted a regular pillow. Still, he got angry at me for it. Edit. People seem to think this meant I took the pillow out from under him. No. I grabbed it from his hands and offered an equally comfortable, available pillow. Edit 2. More about the pillow plushies. I cuddle these. I do not sit on them. I do not lay on them. They bring me comfort and I keep them in a clean condition. My husband wanted to lounge, sit on, smoosh my pillow plushie, and this was very upsetting to me. I am using this as an example of him not asking permission to borrow something that is very personal to me, and in this case, misuse it. Edit 3. Clarification about the pillow plushies. They aren't straight-up pillows. They're not cushions. They're big squishy pillow-like plush toys that are in the shape of various animals. Look up Squishmallows for the right idea. He's even claimed ownership of things which had been gifted to me by him, telling me that he either got it for himself and let me borrow it, or it was a gift for the both of us to share. E.g., he re-gifted me some earbuds he got for Christmas because he didn't need them. Until he did need them, over a year later. Then they were not mine, but his again. Many things in the house, yes, we do share, and we co-own. But I wish he would stop acting like he can go through my private space and borrow stuff when he wants without asking. It makes me feel very insecure, like there is no space in the house I can go to and get some alone time. That it's all owned by him, and he thinks he has the right to invade my space and claim shared ownership at any moment. We have talked about this several times, but each time I fail to get him to understand why this is so important to me. He always turns it on me and pushes the idea that we share a home, and that means everything in it. And that I'm being selfish, rude, hurtful, and paranoid. As a result, I usually end up apologizing to him because I end up feeling in the wrong. Am I the asshole all along? Not the asshole. Although you're married, you both need your own personal space, hobbies, etc. You have boundaries in place and he needs to respect them. Not the asshole. Just because you're married and share a home doesn't mean he gets to have full access to things that are yours or vice versa. He should respect your boundaries and your things. Some folks in here are saying it's inconsequential when it's about things like plushies. However, I know where you're coming from there. It's not. Some of us have very strong attachments to certain items and it can be very upsetting to us if people use those items. On top of that, he's gaslighting you by trying to take back gifts and say he was only letting you borrow them. Honestly, your husband does not come across as a very nice person. Not the asshole at all. It's extremely important to have things of your own, to have privacy, a secret garden, basically to develop your own personality and not to erase it to the benefit of your couple. It's really unhealthy and you should absolutely set boundaries as soon as possible because one day you will find this suffocating, alienating, and even might wonder what defines you apart from the couple that you form with him. Talking from experience here. Sorry for potential mistakes as English is not my mother tongue. Not the asshole. I'm being selfish, rude, hurtful, and paranoid. No. He is being inconsiderate, narrow-minded, dominating and spoiled, in the, I'll throw a temper tantrum, fit, childish way. Not the asshole. EU don't sit and fart on the pillow I cuddle for support. Yuho op seems like you have a communication and comprehension problem on his end. Not the asshole. On that note, you can take away his briefs and he can wear your panties because everything is shared, right? JK being sarcastic. Just because you're married now, doesn't mean you lose all autonomy. You're still your own person. I have an inkling if you gave him a taste of his own medicine he may not be thrilled with things. Get him gifts for you on his B-Day, other holidays you celebrate, etc. Another poster asked and you only answered about the pillow. How far and clearly have you communicated about this? Have you explained that how it makes you feel? That it's affecting the marriage? Have you brought up couples counseling? Not the asshole. NTA but IDK why people are freaking out so much about the plushie thing. My partner has Star Wars figure pillows that are absolutely adorable, but would I just take one to nap on? No. I simply can get a regular pillow with a pillowcase because they can be impossible to clean. It's so easy to treat them like decor and he holds the same respect for my Pokémon plushies.